The proposed ban on large electronic devices on flights from Europe to the United States has reportedly been taken off the table for now. U.S. and European officials discussed the matter at a meeting in Brussels yesterday. While no ban was put in place, the two sides reportedly pledged to improve intelligence sharing between the two parties. Joining us now is former Navy SEAL, author of Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, a SEAL's Story, Carl Higbie. Carl, what do you make of this move?
Well, I think this is, the terror threat now. I mean, first off, the business implications of not being able to bring your laptops on a flight, it would directly affect like Heathrow Airport, which is the major hub from that side of the world coming into the United States of America. So the business implications are bad. But that said, I think terrorism has to, above all else, we have to look out for terrorism over any business interest, because without safety, we don't have an economy.
Do you think that they will eventually have to put this ban in place? Because again, this has been one of the threats that we've heard about publicly, many that we never hear about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, because they could do a better screening process. Right now, you stick your laptop through the machine, and they can see pretty much what's inside of it. But when you have a battery go through there, you just see a black splotch, and that's all. So that black splotch could be, a petant, like a plasticized-based explosive. It could be anything they want. So we need to find a better way to screen this stuff. But until then, I mean, the possibility is there.
Well, according to the reports that are in place, that's basically the reason for the current ban for the countries. It affects about 50 flights a day.
Right.
Is because those flights originate in countries where they don't have screening processes like we have here in the U.S.
Right. Well, I mean, if that's the case, maybe you have Heathrow install some sort of secondary screening process if you're coming from certain areas. I know our travel ban is right now being argued in court. But, I mean, this is something we seriously need to look at, because, like I said, without safety, we don't have an economy.
And of course, the other issue is just the lithium batteries and the potential for them to actually blow up in the cargo hold is an issue.
Samsung, yeah.
If you do have this ban in place and all these batteries are there.
And Heathrow does that. If you fly from anywhere on the planet and you go through Heathrow, they rescreen you anyway, and it's the most comprehensive screening short of Israel that I've ever gone through. The question is, if you ban the laptops,
what's next?
What's next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The number of things that have lithium batteries in it is an endless list.
We're also addicted to technology. I mean, like, the society doesn't function. Can you imagine the stock market implications?
I think it's an opportunity for the airlines to actually make money with lender computers and basically developing technology so that they can then charge people to use their cloud devices and do their work while they're on their planes.
But it also took years to give free plastic bags out, so I couldn't imagine.
That's true.
It's like, at what point? We already walked through the 3D machines. You can see if I have, a hip replacement or metal rods in my legs. I mean, what else do you need to see?
They don't even pick up on that when you go through security, because they're patting down a man, and the man's like, I've already told you 3 times that I have a metal hip.
Right.
Yeah.
That actually did happen over the weekend. Well, Carl, what are the threats that you see us not focusing on? Maybe we don't see it as just your kind of average citizens in the U.S., but where are we falling short in terms of intelligence and fighting terror?
I would say something that the intelligence groups are on the front lines of it is, one, North Korea. Everyone's focused on, does he have a deliverable missile capability right now? Maybe, maybe not, but what I'm really worried about is he has between 5 and 20 nukes. We don't know. Is he going to sell one to ISIS? Are they going to stick it in a shipping container and drive it into San Francisco Harbor? Also, you have this increased threat with chemical weapons, which we've all seen. ISIS is getting together in Syria. They're putting together this chemical weapons task force. And this is something that is very, very new to us having to actually deal with here on the home front. And it gives President Trump an actual great opportunity. Everybody unites behind hating ISIS. He bombs them. He stops this chemical weapon stuff. Everyone's united, especially on the Republican side again. Then he can go jam through his tax reform. Win-win.
Right. I want to get your take on this. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke told a local radio station that he has accepted a job in the Department of Homeland Security. Sheriff Clarke says he will work as a liaison between the department and nationwide law enforcement agencies. He will reportedly start next month. What? We do have, like Carl, we do have listeners on the radio too. So the hand gesture has to be accompanied by a sound of some sort.
I think, look, Sheriff Clarke is the icon of law and order. I mean, this guy has been a conservative pundit. He's been across the board. I spent a lot of time with him on the campaign trail. The guy's awesome. I mean, I cannot think of anybody better for this position. I'm so excited that Trump has put him there, because this guy, I mean, he has run a tight ship where he is over in Milwaukee. He's come across the country talking about law and order, and that's what President Trump promised. And a lot of people got behind him and said, law enforcement, law and order, let's do it.
What do you make of this dehydration investigation, though, of this inmate at the prison that was within his county? You don't care? I mean, the reason I bring it up, Carl, is because you and I were both in the Navy,
right.
and that's a leadership issue. He's not one of the people being looked into, but it's still a leadership issue, and this is a leadership position.
Yeah, well, you're right, but here's the thing, is like when we were overseas and, we had a number of things. I was sitting in a tent with no air conditioning at 130 degrees, oftentimes dehydrated because the water we had was contaminated with diesel fuel. Get over it. They're prisoners. They shouldn't have been in prison in the first place.
They still have rights.
Yeah. You're right.
I was curious, though, about Sheriff Clarke working within the bigger machine, if you will, of the Department of Homeland Security and working in what is decidedly a very government job.
He sure is, but he has a unique leadership ability. I think he's going to bring, I think he's really going to flatten the organization. I mean, just the being with him and being on the campaign trail, he would, if stuff was bouncing all over the place, he could rally a group, flatten the organization structure and get it done.
Is it leadership or is it just sort of bureaucracy? Can leadership sort of plow through bureaucracy, I guess?
Sure. I mean, leadership, as famously quoted by Barack Obama, leadership requires accountability. Accountability requires, so the issue here is we don't have people in the smaller departments. Sure, we have Trump at the top that I believe is a really good leader, and if we can just get on message, we'll get a lot more done. But if you have a good leader in there that starts holding people accountable, that everybody is only accountable to themselves in these large bureaucracies like the DMV. If they are not personally held accountable, they just do whatever they want and nothing gets done. But if you have somebody on top who's willing to hold people's feet to the fire, we win.
Let's hope that applies to the TSA as well.
And giving people water when they need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Carl, it's great to see you. Thank you so much, Carl Higbie.